Everyone, this is Ian Meyer, president of BSides Orlando, here for another BSides Orlando pre-show. These are the videos and streams that we use to promote our wonderful conference that we have and bring in people who are bringing their energy, their knowledge to share with our community and help promote them and help let everyone know kind of some of the great things that are going on at BSides Orlando. And we are at the final stages, if you will. BSides Orlando, November 6th and 7th. Remember, we are all virtual this year, which is actually really cool. We got a lot of neat stuff coming. Our workshops are on the 6th. Our talks are on the 7th. We have tons of incredible speakers, a great Discord that's already building up, a lot of folks in it, and we are going to have a lot of fun. And speaking of a lot of fun and learning a lot of things, today I have the pleasure of having Hahna Kane on with us, and she is going to talk to us about her we had this conversation right during the pre-show, and I'm going to mess it up because I've never learned how to say Ghidra, which is the official name, and she's giving me the thumbs up and the thing. So let's bring Hahna in, and we'll start talking all about what she's done and kind of her background, and get into the workshop. So hello, Hahna, how are you?
Hey there, it's a pleasure to be here.
Indeed, thank you for coming. So, I mean, you've got quite the background. We were talking right before, and you are the director of R&D at Finite State. You've been a DEF CON CTF finalist, which I didn't know, and that's amazing. You worked at the DoD. You've written a book. So you had we were talking about you're an Amazon best-selling author for Mastering Your Money, Stop Yearning, Start Earning. And I was like, well, I want more money. Maybe I'll go check that out. So you've been on Fox Business News, ABC, USA News and World Report talking about cybersecurity issues. And of course, you've been a BSides Orlando, the most important thing, you've been a BSides Orlando workshop and speaker for a number of years for us. So tell us a little bit about you, about the workshop you're going to be running, and what people can expect.
Absolutely. Well, first, it's great to be back at BSides. Definitely had a blast last year teaching reverse engineering using IDA for Windows 64-bit applications. So this year, we're going to be focusing on reversing Linux x64-bit or 64-bit applications using Ghidra. And we have the opportunity of offering 2 workshops. So one's going to be a beginner workshop, right, to showcase how to get started with reverse engineering, how to get started with Ghidra, and just learning more about static analysis. And then we're offering an advanced workshop, right? So advanced software reversing using Ghidra, where you can really leverage the power and the advanced utilities that Ghidra provides, right? So in that workshop, we're going to focus mostly on how to utilize its automation capabilities, which will, accelerate your reversing efforts, make it more effective and more efficient, as well as looking at other advanced tooling so that you can quickly identify what you're looking for, better understand what you're analyzing, so that you can, make the necessary reports as necessary. So, I'm really excited to offer both of these workshops, both for beginners and advanced.
That's awesome. No, and we were talking about this before we started streaming. This is an area that I'm weak in, and it's super interesting because a lot of the research and things that you can really cut your teeth on and learn at home. There's all these malware samples and do's and picking things apart. This is something you can do. You don't have to have a giant VMware farm to do it. You can really learn a very valuable skill. So I had told you, and I'll share with the audience that ends up watching this, I would be in this class if I didn't have something else going on that day. So I'm really excited to see kind of more of this and what you've got going on. So I mean, you really covered, kind of what students can expect to learn. What do they need to bring to the workshop? Like, do they need to have some sort of previous knowledge? What do they need?
Yeah, so I mean, since it's going to be a virtual event, right? You need your computer and your laptop with internet access, and I'm actually just going to provide a VM of the environment that you need with the tools and exercises. So really, you just have to register and show up.
Cool.
For the beginners workshop, a prerequisite there is just having an understanding of C programming, right?
Mhm.
Because the binaries that we're going to be reversing are compiled with GCC. So just having an understanding of how programs are created in C, different types of like C data types and structures, that's going to be very useful, right? But we're going to cover all the details of how to reverse, that type of application. So there's no prerequisite knowledge there with regards to reverse engineering. And of course, since it's a beginner's workshop, no prerequisite knowledge of how to use Ghidra, right?
Yeah, and you kind of led right into that next question that I always have, which is a lot of people see like reverse engineering, and so reverse engineering software, and they're like, "Well, I don't know if this is for me. Like, it sounds super cool, but I don't know." And so you're saying this is somebody, the entry level workshop, they can come in and really kind of understand it.
Exactly. And it's essentially for the beginner's workshop, it's like reversing a 101 and learning that reversing methodology by utilizing Ghidra, right, as the reverse engineering tool. For the advanced workshop, there is the prereq of being familiar with reverse engineering, already having experience in utilizing Ghidra, but we want to do a deeper dive, right? So, perhaps you don't know how to utilize Ghidra to automate your reverse engineering, or utilize Ghidra
Mhm.
to quickly identify patch differences and things like that,
Mhm.
or just how to use Ghidra to perform more advanced, complex analysis, right? So I would say that that's just the prereqs for the advanced workshop. Ghidra, reverse engineering, at least the basics of Ghidra. You know how to reverse
Mhm.
engineer, and since we're going to be creating scripts for automation, having experience with either Python or Java. You don't need to know both, but you need to
Okay.
know at least one of them in order to, participate and complete some of the automation exercises that we have.
See, that's cool. Can you go into that a little bit further? Because I didn't know that you could do automation. Like, what do you like when I think automation? I think like Ansible playbooks and Terraform and whatnot. Because we're talking, I'm more enterprise based. So, what does automation mean in this tool?
Right. So typically, when people think about reverse engineering, it's a manual effort, right? Where you're, utilizing Ghidra and you're going through it line by line, function by function, and trying to, figure out what is this application doing? How does it operate? What is its control flow? What's the purpose of this binary that I'm reversing? But there are ways to help automate that process, right? And so Ghidra has a script manager, which I can showcase later in a quick demo. But it has a script manager that allows you to create, edit, and manage your different scripts. So if there's a task that you're always doing, you can create a script to automate that. If there's annotations that you always perform in your analysis, just making notes or comments, you can automate that process. And so it's really nice because there's different ways that you can automate your reverse engineering
Mhm.
in order to extract information quickly, or to quickly gain insights about what you're analyzing with a click of a button.
Cool. No, that's. I mean, I hate to keep saying cool, but this is the stuff that mystifies me. I'm like, this is neat. Like, so you said you could show us some of it. Can you bring up a screen, maybe do a demo
Yeah,
for us and show us
yeah,
what people might learn?
absolutely.
Cool.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen here.
Mhm.
Let's go here. All right,
Cool.
and here we
Wonderful.
have just an example of a binary that's opened up in Ghidra. And when you when you first see Ghidra, you see all these different window panes, which can be quite overwhelming, right? But essentially the main area is the center here. This is the window that provides the disassembly or the instructions that make up that function in the overall program, right? So we're in a main function, and we see here that these are the different instructions that it's going to execute. And so usually in the reverse engineering process, you're analyzing these different instructions to figure out what it's doing, how it operates. On the right-hand side, you have your decompiler view. So when I used to teach workshops regarding utilizing IDA or IDA Pro, a lot of the students would say, hey, Hahna, can you provide us with the source code so that we can see how the disassembly maps to the source code, or to use the source code as a way to reference or check their reversing efforts to make sure that they're reversing properly. And so the great thing about Ghidra is that not only is it free, but it also comes with a decompiler. So the decompiler is a high-level C representation or pseudocode of the disassembly, right? So in this main function, we can see that it executes a while loop. It's going to print things to screen, and it performs other operations, and then it returns, right? And so this helps to quickly understand what a function or a program is doing at a very high level. And then Ghidra provides other additional information or data about your program, such as its memory segments, any symbols that a program may consist of, which are different identifiers, and then your data type manager, where you can locate, organize, or even apply and create different data types to the disassembly. And so this is pretty much your main view, your main dashboard. And of course, you can't forget the console for any sort of like standard output. Another cool thing is whenever there's a graph view that's available, this is a quick and easy way to better understand what a function or program is doing, what's its control flow, as well as just the complexity, determining the complexity of what you're analyzing. And so if we zoom out, right, we can see that, hey, this is a pretty simple program, as we see in this right-hand corner, which is just a high-level overview. But I can like zoom in into different sections to really analyze, what's happening in this program. I can, easily identify, hey, this is a while loop here. This is, another do while loop, and just understand, again, just the control flow of a program very quickly without having to dive deep into, each and every instruction. And then we had talked about, automation earlier. And so within Ghidra, there's, as I mentioned, a script manager, right? And so this is one of the things that we're going to cover in the advanced workshop. But Ghidra already comes with built-in scripts that you can run. You can run them against different architectures like ARM. You can perform, say, function identification, scripting. If you're reverse engineering iOS or Mac OS, there's scripts there as well. And so if, for example, let's just look at their one of the built-in, Hello World scripts that come up. You can get additional details about it. You can look at, how the script was constructed if you want to make any edits to it. So there's a lot of power here to Ghidra that's already built in that you can further extend in order to, conduct more complex analysis and reverse engineering. So I'm a huge fan of Ghidra, and with it being free, there's a strong open source community behind it. And it's just an easy way for people to, get back into or really to dive into reverse engineering and take their reverse engineering skills to the next level.
Yeah, no, I love now. To be fair, like I told you before, I play the dumb guy because I am. I would love to be in your class because I just in that little bit that you said, like, hey, you can go through and follow this through and see it. This is as soon as you kind of say this is what's going on, it starts to make sense. But for those of you who are maybe watching or listening to this later, it's certainly I'm sure you de-obfuscate it and make it simple. But I'm looking at it going, yes, yes, yes. Did you ever see the show Good Burger? Where there's a scene where he's reading this thing up. I know some of these words like that. That's right. But it's
Nice.
fascinating. It is. It's great that you can break it down and show that. So what are you go through and you break that down. What are some of the common things that people would do? I mean, is it malware? Is it what do people do with this tool?
Yeah, so there's different reasons for reverse engineering, right? And ultimately, you're trying to understand again, what is its purpose, what is it doing, how does it operate, what is it dependent on, if anything, right? Like, does it interact with other applications or processors, for example? And when you conduct reverse engineering, you have an objective in mind, right? There's definitely defensive applications for reverse engineering. So, for example, you're trying to understand malware, understand how it works, with the goal of potentially developing like an antivirus signature, right? Perhaps you're trying to reverse engineer a product because it's proprietary, right? You don't have access to its source code. You want to understand how it works because perhaps you want to develop an interoperable or compatible feature to that application, right? So there's definitely a variety of different reasons, and malware is, I would say, one of the biggest and most common, most popular reason behind reverse engineering. And usually, like, the way that people I would say accidentally get into reverse engineering is through like game mods, or they're trying to crack a keygen to extend their free trial or something, but
Which
which
you
we
should
don't
never
we don't
do.
recommend, right? That's not
Right,
ethical, so we absolutely don't
right,
do that.
right, of course.
Um, but yeah, it's reverse engineering. It's a lot of fun. It might seem like this big mystery at first, but for me, I try to simplify things that appear to be complex and to make it as easy as possible, so that we can get more people interested in this. And it's really important that we do that because, like, the cyber talent pipeline is so dry, right? There's such a high demand for these skill sets. And so anything that I can do, to help groom that next generation and, inspire that next cybersecurity professional or reverse engineer, it's why I do what I do.
Yeah, no, and then it's great that you're doing that because it's kind of like I mentioned. Totally see this as one of those areas where you can go through and start there, and you don't have to have the lab and the this and the that. You can go through and find, and. I think of the meme though, where it's like the junior security operations center analyst getting the malware sample and like they've got their arm on fire or something like that, where you do kind of have to learn some of that stuff to protect yourself. Do you cover like any of that, or like how would someone do this safely? What is that covered in your class?
Yeah, I would say in the beginner workshop, essentially of just how to get started in reverse
Mm-hmm.
engineering, how to set things up properly. And of course, I take questions all the time about this of, hey, how do I get started?
Right.
So, definitely more than willing to, field those types of questions, during the workshop and incorporate more of that than, what was originally planned. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, very good. So yeah, this is great. And what I want to do is well, maybe we'll end it right about here, because I think this is just kind of the perfect length, though, that people really want to know kind of what's going on, and why they should participate, and how they get involved in reverse engineering. Now, you mentioned as well that people can reach out to you. We've got your Twitter here, so folks that are listening here, this is Hahna's Twitter. So if you want to follow her there, or hit her up there and follow there, that's great. She also has a LinkedIn that you can link with her on, and hopefully build that next career. Go to her class, find out more about reverse engineering. So again, thank you so much for sharing with us, for being part of BSides Orlando. I've got a fancy new challenge coin for you that
Oh,
has
sweet.
mine. Yeah, no, everyone loves the challenge coins, so we'll get those over to you. But this is the Order of the Toothy Grin for participating in, because our new mascot is Little Chompy, because we're like, well, we're Florida, we need a gator. So he's a lovely little guy. But we'll definitely get one of those over to you. So thank you so much. Thank you for spending a couple minutes with us telling us about your workshop, and we will see you on Friday.
Absolutely. Thanks
Excellent.
again.
All right. So, everyone, that was Hahna Kane Latonic. She is going to be running our reverse engineering workshop. She has two courses available, like you heard, a beginner and an advanced. So, this is a completely approachable. You don't have to say, oh, this is some sort of dark magic that only cyber wizards and witches that have, worked in the DoD can learn. No, you can learn it. And it is something that you can build a career on. So, please join us on November 6th and 7th. Tickets are still available on Eventbrite, both for the workshop and for the event. So come hear talks, join the workshops, etc. You will learn a ton. And as Hahna mentioned, we need you. We need more people in the industry. We need a more diverse industry. We need people that are hungry to learn and take on new challenges. So if that's you, please join us. So again, my name is Ian Meyer. I'm the president of BSides Orlando, and we hope to see you this weekend, so that we can hack the planet, and we can do all the hacks all the times. And again, thank you for spending a few minutes with us this evening, and hope to see you this weekend. So have a great rest of the evening.